Hey everyone, this is Caleb Loggett with the Strong Youth Project. Today we've got a special interview with Eddie Joseph. He's a motivational speaker, a future author, as well as a podcast host. He's going to share his story of transformation, particularly regarding obesity, as well as how his identity and connection to God has played a role in that transformation. We'll also talk about things like purpose-based and process-based goals, as well as the impact that youth sports had on his transformation. Eddie, thanks for joining us on the Strong Youth Project podcast. Before we jump into kind of what we've been talking about a little bit before we got on here, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? So kind of where you came from, what you're studying here at BYU, and kind of what your aspirations are.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for having me. Grateful to be here. My name's Eddie Joseph. My family is originally from Haiti, but I grew up in Boston, Massachusetts. We moved to the States when I was about 3.5 years old. And with that, growing up in Haiti, I really loved it. It was a dynamic household of just faith and academic excellence. Like, that's one of the things, like, when people say I'm African American, I'm not really that African American. I'm Haitian American. I have a really divine heritage that I'm grateful for. And so for me, like, it's been such a cool thing, like, getting to come to BYU. And I originally was a sports broadcasting major, but because of some family challenges that we'll talk about as you go through the podcast, I switched to finance. Just being guided from mentors and really thought about, like, okay, how can I best support my family during this tough time and just in the near future as well. Just a little bit about me. Love baking. It's kind of funny we're talking about, like, health and sports today, but seriously, I will kill somebody with snickerdoodles. Love playing the piano and love playing sports. Love speaking. Like, I do motivational speaking, and I just love the opportunity to just help strengthen people. And I co-host a podcast here on campus called Come Study With Me. It's a religious podcast, and yeah, that's me.
Awesome. You also mentioned before we were talking, you mentioned that you're also in the process of writing a book.
Yeah.
Will you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And so my book is Faith Inspired Transformation, or FIT. And so I used to be obese. I used to be about 345 pounds, a little bit over that. And I recently lost my mom to cancer. My mom passed away from cancer at the beginning of June. I appreciate it. And so I know, like, the brunt of facing health challenges, like, personally and on a family basis. And so my goal is just to be able to help people going through those challenges, whether it's personal or on a family basis. Mm-hmm. And I just know, like there are principles that can help no matter the situation.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned your struggle with obesity, and you kind of mentioned, like, your mom, your family situation and stuff, and that's kind of at the heart of what we want to talk about today, was you sharing your story and highlighting some principles that could hopefully help some of our listeners in their personal lives, as well as some like connecting it back to youth sports. Mm-hmm. So why don't you walk us through your story? I know that's a very big question and stuff, but what is your story with obesity and transformation?
No, absolutely. I used to be 345 pounds by choice because I've never accidentally eaten anything. But my mom was an amazing cook. Like, Haitian culture is just, like, food is the foundation. And I recognized I didn't have the best eating habits, and whether that was just, like, socioeconomic challenges of the family when we first came to the States, because it was a tougher transition, or just generally poor habits on my side. And but I really just continued to gain weight when I was about 10 or 12, and by the end of middle school, I was about 300 pounds, and by the end of high school, into my freshman year of college, I was 345 pounds. And it just, like, for me, I grew up loving sports. Like, my dad was a big soccer and volleyball guy. When we moved to the States, I started to really love football and basketball, and I really worked at it. Like, I just remember, like, even though I was obese, like, man, I just remember I'd get up at, like, 5 o'clock, read the scriptures, and then go work out. Then get to seminary on Saturdays, do the same thing. And I just really worked at it. Like, even though I was big, like, I still, like, I'm being dead serious. I just had the hopes, like, all right, maybe I could be a college basketball player. Mm-hmm. Maybe I could get there. Maybe I could lose this weight and just really, like, accomplish that goal. But the thing with obesity, like, it was tough physically, obviously, because it just made wearing clothes, like, I just remember not being able to go to Gap or Old Navy, or even, like, it was just always tough, like, trying to find clothes that fit. And I used to get made fun of all the time. That's the one thing about being big. Like, when you're big, you don't really have a name. Like, it's just Big Man, Big Deuce, Big Mac, Escalade, everything. Like, oh man. And so that was really tough for me, especially with youth sports. Like I try out for teams, like I try out for travel basketball team or AAU teams. I shoot for A, always get B. Shoot for A, always get B. And so I really just saw how obesity was affecting just my spiritual health, my physical health, my social health, and it was a really big challenge. And I had tried to lose weight. I had met with like so many nutritionists, so many dietitians, physicians, and it was a lot of the same thing. Like I'd meet with them and they're like, hey, if you look at your growth charts, this is where you are. This is where people your age normally are. You're kind of fat. I'm like, I knew that. I got a mirror at my house. I know I'm fat. You didn't have to tell me. Can you please just help me solve the problem? Mm-hmm. And it would always be a bit humbling because they would teach me like the scientific principles of how to get and have better health. But they try to keep it simple because they know I was a kid and try to make it deliverable. Like, hey, don't drink soda, don't eat pizza, don't eat buffalo wings, stay away from candy. And my mom, she worked she worked a lot. She was really busy. My dad worked too. And so she'd come home after a double shift and she'd come home with what? Buffalo wings, pizza, orange soda. And she knew I liked Hershey bars. So she'd grab one for me if she stopped by CVS. And so my mom was just trying her best. And I was like, oh, Mom, I'm on a diet. Like, I can't eat this. The nutritionist literally told me like not to eat this exact meal. I didn't want to do that to my mom. I just ate the food with gratitude anyway. Mm-hmm. And so, it was tough. It was definitely tough. Like, getting made fun of during games too. I remember my junior year. Like, I remember basketball. Like, that's the thing. Basketball is my main sport. I love basketball. Freshman year, I got cut because I was fat. Like, they told me like, the coach would tell me like, we just like, am I just out of shape? Yes. Mm-hmm. Like, I knew I put in the work. I knew I had the skills. I knew I had the knowledge to be on this team. But literally, it was just because I was fat. I wasn't on this team. I couldn't run up the court as better as well as other kids could. And so for me, that was tough. I tried to get my sophomore year, got cut again. Junior year, I made JV, and I was so like grateful to be able to have my jersey again and be part of the team. And I had a couple of my boys on that team too. And almost every game, I got laughed at. Players, refs would crack jokes, people from the sidelines, and it got back to my athletic director and my coach, and they just came up to me and apologized, like, hey, Eddie, sorry, we didn't know this was going on. Like, this is unacceptable. And it was just tough. Like, mm-hmm. I would try to lose the weight, try to get in shape, and it like many people, I've lost thousands of pounds. Lose it, gain it back, lose it, gain it back, lose it, gain it back. And so it's kind of a cluster of all these just kind of challenges socially, economically, on a mental level, physical level, and it just like to be frank, I didn't like losing. I didn't like getting made fun of. I didn't like just this persistent just opposition when it came to obesity. Mm-hmm. But for me, like everything just changed when I started getting ready for my mission. So I graduated from high school. I graduated in 2020 after COVID. Come out of COVID, like I said, around 345, 350 pounds, whatever. And for people who don't know how big that is, I'm 5'10". I used to tell girls I was 6 feet tall. No, I'm not. I'm 5'10", 5'11", maybe. Shaquille O'Neal is what, 7'2"? I weighed more than that brother does. If you can grasp that thought, like I was big and I was struggling. Mm-hmm. But when I got ready to serve a mission for my church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, like it was a thing for my family. Like I knew I wanted to go serve. Like my family was one of the first families baptized in Haiti, and faith was at the center. Like despite all the challenges that I faced, like with getting made fun of, with bullying, with sports, with my health, meeting challenges with doctors and everything, my faith was always just like a solid rock. Like I still had that belief in God. But as I started getting ready for my mission, I met with another physician, and I knew what it was going to be like. It was going to be the same thing. Like you're overweight, you're obese. Like it's going to lead to a whole bunch of problems. You're pre-diabetic. You're pre-this, pre-that, pre-high blood pressure, and had some heart challenges too. And she we were talking, I showed her my mission paper, and she's like, Eddie, you know, it says you got to be able to walk 6 to 10 miles a day. She looks at the paper, looks at me, looks at the paper, looks at me. You know, you got to be able to bike 10 to 15 miles a day and work like 10 to 12 hours a day. Do you think you could do this? And I kind of sat there for a little bit. I was like, I don't know. I got the faith that I can. And she signed off. Mm-hmm. My leader signed off, and my parents signed off on the papers too. And I just started getting ready. I knew how hard it was for my mom. When I got home from that doctor's appointment, I told her what the doctor said, and she just broke down crying. And like that's one of the moments that kind of like really broke me, when I was just like, it was really tough for me to see her broken like that. Really see her that sad about me struggling with my health and the state that my health was in, just my body image, my confidence, like, man. And so I decided then, like, I really got to make a change. Like, I really got to improve. I've been wanting to try to lose this weight for 10 years. But I was willing to try again. And so I got home from that doctor's appointment around like 4:30, and talked to my mom until probably about like 5 o'clock. And so from 5 p.m. till about like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, I was just reading the scriptures, doing push-ups, doing sit-ups, like seeking inspiration, listening to inspirational video, speeches and everything like that. I love Ray Lewis. He has an amazing story. So there was a deck of cards on our nightstand, on the TV stand. So I grabbed that deck of cards, and I was just like, if I flipped a 7, did 7 push-ups. If I flipped to 8, did 8 push-ups. Flipped to Joker, did 20. And this is me at 300 pounds. And because of football and basketball and training, I was like, or 345 pounds. I had strength, like, you know, I could physically move a little bit better, like
conditioned.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And so I really, that whole time, I'm like praying in tears, like, Lord, I have to make a change. I really, like, it was like I was repenting. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I know my body's a stewardship. Like, I got to be better taking care of my body. And I I read D&C 89, the Word of Wisdom, which is like the health code of our church. And you know, I already always had that conception, like, you know, stay away from things that are harmful for your body. Most people can grab that concept pretty simply. But I never realized, like my body is really a temple. Like, I'm a son of God. Like, my body matters. Like, I matter. Like, I'm important. Like, I'm not just fat. Like, I have inherent value. And that completely flipped the switch for me. Like, I read the blessings to learn wisdom and great treasures of knowledge, and to run and not be weary and walk and not faint. And then there was a footnote to Isaiah. It was like Isaiah 40:31. And they who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength and shall mount up as wings as eagles. I'm like, that's what I want. Like, I remember being on BYU campus, Idaho campus, like not being able to walk up the stairs and having to stop on the 11th step, wait there for 2 minutes, and can finish the staircase. I'm like, I don't want to be this anymore. I don't want to struggle with this. Like I just don't want. I want to overcome this obesity. I want to overcome this challenge. Mm-hmm. And so I made a game plan with my family. My sister Barbara, she's the best. Like, everything cool about me, all my swag, my jokes, it comes from her. She helped me just like with food and portion sizing and teaching me about nutrition. And she helped me find books and resources. And she was the first person to take me to the gym too. And then my friend Max, who was on the BYU rugby team, we started going to the gym 6 days a week, 2 hours a day, and man, we really grinded it out. And I made the Word of Wisdom the foundation of everything I did. I tried to simplify, like, everything. Like, an example. Instead of fruit snacks, fruit. Instead of potato chips, potatoes. And I really just tried to simplify it in a way that the Savior did. And things started to change. I went from 345 to 315. And just that, like, 30 pounds, I'm like, dang, this is, like, such a blessing. I remember I got set apart. I had a going away party, and two of the moms came up to me like, Eddie, you look healthy. Like, seriously, we were proud of you. And that was just from 30 pounds. Like, I went like, oh man, like growing up being bullied, you get so used to just people just throwing dirt at you or throwing rocks or making fun of you. Mm-hmm. So for me, like, when people just say kind things to me, like, I always write them down in my journal because they just go straight to my heart. And so those moments, I'd look back on those moments of bullying, and it is really tough. Like, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. But it does make me appreciate now, like, all the kindness that I get from my family, my friends, and just from anyone. And so I get out on my mission. I got my mission call to Morristown, New Jersey, and I'm from Boston, so it's like really close. Like, you don't anticipate that type of a call. Like, my mom sent me 200 protein bars for my birthday. She shipped it at 10 o'clock. I got it at 4 p.m. I was really close to home.
Same day.
Yeah. And so I just really just felt inspired to keep going with it. I had read books about men's health and weight loss, fat loss, all of the above. I started reading academic journals. I started reading research papers. And so I really combined the faith with the science. And that's when the miracle happened. Because before, I was just focusing on the science, and the science was beating me up. Because the nutritionists and the dietitians would talk to me, and I wouldn't be able to take it home and be able to do anything with it. Because the principles are true. Like, we know that the science, like, we've done the research, they've done the tests. Like, not me, I haven't done the research. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it exists.
Exactly. But when I was able to combine their guidance with the guidance of the Lord, man, it changed everything. It was kind of like compound interest. And so one of the things for me, like, I had to learn to be really mindful about what I ate, because I know, like, for me, it's a weakness. Like, I'm always hungry. Like, right now, I'm hungry. I could go to Buffalo Wild Wings and throw down 30 wings right now. But I had to learn to be mindful about my appetite and learn to be mindful about the things that I'm putting into my body. And so one of the things that helped me, I still do it to this day, like, I started keeping a pocketbook of Mormon with me. If anybody's not familiar, it's like another book of scripture. And so it was a habit that Dr. Norman Vincent Peale had. Like, he always kept inspiring things in his pocket, whether it was a note card or a small copy of the New Testament. And so for me, like, anytime I wanted to eat something, and as a missionary, like, you have time to do this. So that's why it was a little bit more conventional. But before I ate anything, like, I repeated a scripture in my mind just to help me focus on that goal. And one of the ones that just became, like, really written in my heart is Ether 12:27. If men come unto me, I will show unto them their weakness, and I give unto men weakness that they may be humble. And my grace is sufficient for all men that humble themselves before me, for if they humble themselves before me and have faith in me, then shall I make weak things become strong unto them. And that became written in my heart, and that was the center of my goal when it came to overcoming obesity, because I knew I had this weakness. I knew I couldn't do it by myself. I had tried hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times to try it by myself, but it was when I had help from doctors and professionals that dedicate their lives to doing this stuff, and when I had help from my family and help from my friends and help from companions and leaders, that's when the miracles started happening. And then, of course, help from the Lord. Like, I started to write down my goals, and to instead of trying to, like, lose weight 10 pounds a week or 15 pounds a week, that's just a scam. You see that on magazines, you'll see it on TikTok. Please don't believe that. Your body is such an amazing thing. It's such a temple. It's such a sacred thing. Like, if you were trying to, I can explain it in a little bit better way, but you wouldn't try to, like, if you're trying to do, if you're trying to renovate a house, you wouldn't bring a bulldozer or, like, a wrecking ball. But you'd focus on the minute details and fix the things, like, here, like, oh, fix this little cabinet, fix this little wallpaper, fix this little thing. Treat your body like that. And that's when things start to click and start to move. And so when I started focusing on the 2 pounds or the 1.5 pounds or 1 pound a week, it was like compound interest. Like, my health just started to get better. Like, I started to slim down. Like, I noticed, like, my pants were getting a little bit baggy. I was like, dang, this is kind of cool. I like this. Like, I remember I served with Carter Welling. He's the center on the Clemson men's basketball team right now. And we'd go play basketball all the time in the mornings or on P days. And that brother, he Windmill, East Bay, and he incredibly athletic. And he just inspired me. I was like, all right, let me just try. Like, I had tried hundreds of times to touch the rim before, but I was over 345 pounds. It's not a shot. Like, I was gravitationally challenged. But I remember just touching rim with the nick of my finger. And I literally almost started crying. Like, this is crazy. What is going on? And I loved being part of something, like, bigger than myself with a mission and serving in local communities where you could see, like, how much of a blessing, like, having this knowledge about nutrition, having access to good food is. Because I served around families. Like, I just remember this one mom that at one of the food pantries, like she was just so grateful, like for the food that we gave her, the fruits and the vegetables, and even if they were in cans or whatever it was, like thank you. She was in tears, like thank you, thank you, thank you. And it had such an impact on me. Like, okay, I'm gonna keep doing this because I know there's people like me that struggled with this, that need help, that need hope, that need inspiration, that need like just an enthusiasm about like really this weight loss. And so I just kept at it and kept at it and kept at it. And so I got from 315 to 265. After months keep going, and over 2 years, I got to about like a $1.95. And so I lost about 150 pounds.
Wow.
And man, I got home from my mission, and my mom saw me. She was like, what did they do to my son? Oh my gosh, are you not eating? What? Oh, she was tripping. Like, it was the first time my mom had hugged me in 10 years, and she could put her arms around me. And for me, I was just like that, like the opportunity to make my family proud, the opportunity to just like be a good example for like my future kids, like that, like, oh, made such a difference.
Mm-hmm. There's first of all, thank you for sharing. Like, this is very personal stuff. So I really appreciate that, and I'm sure the listeners do as well. And there's a lot of directions we could go here because there's a lot to unpack. I mean, you know, it's a very simplified story that you told us. I'm sure you could tell a lot more. You know, and we could talk about, you know, the yo-yo dieting. It sounds like you went through that a little bit. We could talk about the social pressures as well as the social support that helped you with your transformation. But it seems like that there was a consistent theme throughout this whole thing. And you even mentioned it, that there was really one point where like, this is where the change happened. And that consistent theme was kind of this transcendent identity, this deeper sense of self-worth, you know, and you gave the metaphor with the house. You don't go bulldoze your house, but you take what you have and you accept it where you're at, and you love it. And then you can, you know, go the direction you want to go from there. Will you tell us a little bit more about that transcendent identity and how it might even connect to your faith?
Absolutely. It was such a sweet and tender thing for me, like, to be able to realize, like, okay, like, I really am a son of God. I have value. You know, I recognize that, you know, I'm a young African-American male. Racism is a thing. Mm-hmm. And so it was kind of like getting hit with the wind of adversity from every direction when it came to my personality, when it came to just like learning about racism or experiencing it, and being obese or being or in a lower social class, whatever it may be. It really just made it tough to have like a positive self-image, because you start to believe somewhat the things that people say to you. It's just like, oh, maybe I'm just fat. Like, I can't do anything because I'm fat. Yeah. I'm lazy, or I can't learn anything, or I'm gonna be a bad dad, or what. Like, you hear all these things all the time. But it was when like I realized that I was a son of God, and you think about it like this. This is how it clicked in my head. Like, okay, you have a chick grows up to be a chicken, a calf grows up to be a bull. What does the son of God grow up to be like? Like God. And that, like, you know, not to be sacrilegious, like not in any sense of that way, but that is divine potential. And once I realized I had potential, like, that's what I was like, all right, I'm gonna go after this. I'm gonna try again. I've tried 100 times before, but like, knowing that divine identity, knowing that I have value, knowing that I can do good things, know that I have like I said, a divine potential, man, that's when I started running with it.
So that's super interesting, and I think this directly applies to, you know, youth athletes, who is mainly our audience. But I think it also you know, transcends youth sports even, you know, because what we want out of youth sports is, you know, longevity. We want kids to, you know, graduate high school and they're done playing sports in an organized setting, but still have lifelong skills like physical activity, self-worth. And unfortunately, what the research is showing right now is that a lot of kids are getting more of the negative outcomes from youth sports, which is exactly the opposite of what you're telling us right now. Like, a lot of athletes leave their sport with identity issues, for example, because they've been taught, you know, maybe implicitly through coaching, even through parenting, no matter how well-intentioned it is, that they are their sport, right? And it kind of has this adverse effect. It doesn't help their performance, but it also doesn't help their health and well-being. So if you're okay with that, I'd like to dive deeper into that with you, because it seems like you struggled with both. You know, you mentioned like before your mission, you were always like, oh, I was just the fat kid. You know, I was big man. I didn't really have a name. So that was your self-narrative is what we'll call it. But then when you were sitting in that doctor's appointment and really thinking about going on a mission, being a son of God, that really helped you change your behavior, even though, you know, changing your behavior, it doesn't sound like was the main goal. How did that work for you? How did having almost a transcendent goal, a goal that's bigger than weight loss itself, help you lose weight?
It definitely helped me in a sense, like, to realize that you can have both. It's kind of like two sides of a coin. Like you have you who has the inherent value, and then you have you that it goes after things. And that's like your inherent value never changes. It stays the same. It's infinite. It's powerful. That's something you can lean on always. And then you have the go-getter you that wants to go and get those things, that wants to make the team, that wants to score 15 points a game. And you're not always going to make the team. You're not always going to score 15 points. You might score 0 some games. But your value never changes. And so your value helps you to keep pushing when you're doing good and helps you get up when you fail.
That's super interesting. I mean, like when you were just talking right there, I think that highlights the importance of having, being more than your sport or being more than your weight or more than your grades, if we're talking about school and stuff like that, because you said it helps kind of create that stability. I think sometimes we always think that we have to obsessively chase our passions. So if I'm thinking about like a youth soccer player, for example, a lot of times they're taught that like in order to be successful in soccer, you have to like make that your identity. But in doing so, you're putting all your eggs in that basket, which makes you almost more afraid to try and to fail, right? Which like everybody's going to fail, and you're never going to succeed if you don't fail, essentially, because if you're not failing, you're not trying. So thanks for sharing that. And I think it goes along with weight loss as well. If we have more of an inherent self-worth versus what's called a contingent self-worth, it's going to be less like a roller coaster, and you're going to be more resilient throughout life. And why don't you tell us a little bit more about, you're very religious, very faithful. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about that self-narrative and how you feel like yourself and your connection to God influences your self-narrative?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely very faithful. My siblings call me pastor because every conversation we have, always got to talk about the gospel. But I love the gospel. It's you think about the word enthusiasm. Like, I love etymology. I love studying. Like, I grew up in a Haitian household, so I grew up getting yelled at in a whole bunch of different languages: French, Creole, Spanish, English. It was cool. So the word enthusiasm, I think, is the greatest word that we've ever learned from the Greeks. So entheos, it literally means God within. And so when somebody's enthusiastic about something, God is with them. And that's why I feel like I'm enthusiastic about like health and fitness and helping people with these types of challenges and young athletes. Like, I've been there. I really know like what it's like to be in a situation and help, and what it's like to be in a situation and help and to have God come help you with it. That's where I really get that's where my faith just comes in. My faith is the principle that, my faith is the precedent to everything. Now, my favorite scripture is Luke 1:37, for with God nothing shall be impossible. And so that was my theme throughout like the whole weight loss journey. Like I just knew like, okay, if I do this with God, like I know firsthand, I've failed at this so many times by myself, but if I do this with God, then I can overcome this challenge. And so it really became critical to everything I was doing. So with my exercise, like I have the faith, I have the belief that I can do more, like I can do these push-ups or I can do a run. Like, it takes a lot of faith to try to touch the rim when you're over 300 pounds.
So it increased like the term I'm going to use is self-efficacy, your belief in your ability to, essentially do stuff.
Yeah. Okay. And you're gonna feel goofy. You're gonna feel a little dumb at times because it's just like, what is that brother doing trying to touch rim? He can't even run correctly. Like, you know, like your faith gets tested. And
were you ever afraid to fail?
Oh, for sure. Are you kidding? My first time my sister took me to the gym, it was probably 15, 14, something like that. I tried to do push-ups, and my sister, she did cheer. She was in great shape. She did track. She was just cranking them out. I couldn't do one. I failed terribly. I tried again, couldn't do it. Tried again, couldn't do it. I was just in tears at the gym. And she's just like, stick with it. Try again. We'll come back. And she wiped my tears. She's like, we'll try again. It's okay. Like, we'll try again tomorrow. Tried again the next day, couldn't get it. Tried again the next day, couldn't get it. Come back the next week, I got to push up. And I had to put everything, all my prayers, all my hopes and everything. Like, I literally woke up. I went to bed the night before, like, Heavenly Father, please, like, I just really want to get this. Like, I just want to do a push-up. Just please help me to do this. I need your help. And so, help from God, help from my sister. I was actually able to do one, and now I do several. I can do a bunch of push-ups now. But I do remember those moments. Like, man, I remember the bitterness of failure. But I think it really is the failures that make the successes so much sweeter.
What do you feel like were the things that helped you push through that fear?
My faith, for sure. Like, fear is really like false evidence appearing real. And so if you can have faith, like, for people like who are not familiar with faith, like, when it's not just like, faith is really belief. Like, you believe, like, you can do it. You believe that you can try. You believe that you can overcome. You believe that you can write something down and go after it and get it. And faith is not just a belief, but faith is the principle of action and of power. So you have the belief, you're willing to act on it, and you're willing to go after it. Go after it with a real, like, a tenacity, with a enthusiasm.
So let's take that one level deeper. What helped you believe that you could do that?
You can't read inspiring stuff like the scriptures and not be willing to just go try something bold, something ambitious. Like, for me, like, I would read of Nephi and his family in the scriptures. Like, there's this family in the scriptures, like, they were traveling in the wilderness and their bows broke and they were really hungry and they were really suffering. It was really tough. It was a really tough hike. And the youngest brother, instead of just sitting there, like, he had the initiative. He went and found a branch or a stick, carved out a bow, made a string, made him an arrow, and went and got food for his family. I was like, dang. He went out and got it. A couple months later, like, their family has to cross this big ocean, and they're thinking, like, how are we going to do this? The same dude that built the arrow built a boat, and he didn't know how to do that, but he went and tried anyway. And so for me, like, when I was constantly seeking that inspiration and seeing, like, the miracles that God was able to do for other people, I was like, I wonder if I ask God to give me a miracle, if he can help me do it too. If he could teach me, like, how to do something I've never done before.
So again, I feel like, we have this consistent theme of, like, you were more than your weight loss journey. That you, in your eyes, you were a child of God, so to say, and that helped you, be able to push through. It's not that you didn't feel the fear of making mistakes, but it didn't impact you maybe as much because you had something larger, that transcended what the activity was that you were trying to do. And I'm going to draw some parallels to youth sports as well, because there are a lot of researchers whose papers I've read who say that there's no difference between performance psychology and exercise psychology, right? And one of the consistencies is this type of motivation we have, whether it's sports or whether it's a weight loss journey. And when youth athletes have a goal that's bigger than winning, for example, or when their identity is not tied to their performance, they're a lot less likely to have that fear of making mistakes because it's not an attack on their self-worth, right? And then they're a lot more likely to try new things, to change behavior. And it actually reminds me of a quote from one of the professors here. I'm taking a class from her right now in child psychopathology. It's Dr. Cara Duraccio. So if she's watching right now, this is a shout out for her. But I have it written down, and she said, I don't know where this quote comes from. It could be from a research article. It could be from anything, but there wasn't the citation, but it says behavior that is incongruent with the self will not last. Right? If your self-worth or if your view of yourself, the story you're telling about yourself is your last performance, whether it's a soccer game, a volleyball game, a baseball game, or if it's your last workout, right? Or the last thing somebody told you. If that's what your self-worth is grounded in, it's going to be a roller coaster and it's not going to last. But if your self-worth is grounded in something much bigger and much more consistent, for example, religious belief, and for you, like a child of God or your faith in Jesus Christ, you're going to be a lot more resilient because you have that stability. Will you tell us a little bit? You mentioned you played sports in high school. Will you tell us a little bit about the impact, either positive or negative, that your sporting participation had on this journey?
No, absolutely. I love sports, so it's like basketball. Like when we moved to the States, me and my dad would watch every Celtics game. Like everyone, we wouldn't miss them. And for me, like it was just so inspiring. Like to see good examples, like Ray Allen. This is the '08 Celtics. Ray Allen shooting that thing. KG, as much energy as ever. Rajon Rondo faking behind the back, tricking somebody, and then doing a layup. I'm like, that. I like that. And so I'd go to the park up the street, and I tried doing what those guys did. And then my dad got me my first basketball hoop when I was probably like 11 or something like that. And so I just spent hours and just working dribbling drills and everything like that. And I really work at it. And as I started to gain weight and the obesity started getting in the way, it was tougher. But I still worked on those skills. Like I still despite the challenges, I still worked on them anyway. And I just loved being a part of a team. I loved being able to grow. I loved being able to see somebody do something great and then try to do that too. And it completely changed my character. It completely changed, another etymology, character is derived from the Greek word chiseled. Like you think about in those ancient times, they wrote in those stone palettes, so they had to chisel in the characters to anything that they wrote that they wanted to stick. And so it's the same thing. Like the challenges that you face and the experiences that you have shape your character. And the challenges that I faced with playing in sports, especially not making the teams or getting made fun of or just always coming last in suicides, or not even. I remember freshman year of high school, my coach stopped me from running the suicides because he was genuinely afraid. I had heart challenges. He was afraid that I would do too much to my body and harm myself even more. And so definitely being humbled by those challenges was hard. But it did inspire me to just keep working at it. I just kept working at it. Like I said, I'd wake up early and just still do the drills. I'd wake up early, go do shots, do dribbles, and still try to run the suicides. And even today, something I thought I failed at. I'm not even joking. I thought I failed at basketball because I never made the team. I didn't make varsity my senior year. Thought I failed at football because I got a concussion and my parents didn't let me keep going. I thought I was just such a failure at basketball. And what I realized, when I was on the mission, we had access to gyms, so I'd go and do the suicides that I couldn't do before. And as I was losing weight, I saw myself, okay, I can do the suicide a little bit faster. I can do a pull-up now. I can do these different things. Dang, these things I couldn't do before when I was working on these sports, I'm actually starting to be able to do them. And so I kept working at it. I'd do basketball workouts, even while on a mission. I'd dribble, do suicides, do sprints, do drills, layup drills, mid-range jumper drills, three-pointer drills. And something that I thought I failed at helped me overcome one of the biggest challenges I've ever faced. And that's the coolest thing about it. I think the Lord cares about sports. There's a reason why there's a gym in every single church.
Yeah.
The Lord knows. The Lord really does know. He really does know the challenges that we face. And so for me, sports have not only shaped my character, but they've helped me to really overcome the challenges that I faced and helped me to face those challenges with hope. I think one of the biggest tests of faith, young athletes can understand this too. I know there's some runners on the track team, or either on the track team or the cross country team here at BYU. Their father passed away from cancer, and they talked about on their Deep Blue on the BYU TV app their experience with that. And I watched that when my mom was battling cancer. My mom recently passed from cancer in June, and man, I'm the biggest mama's boy ever. You can ask anybody, any one of my friends. And that was one of the biggest like tests of faith. So my mom, she got diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer. She did not tell me for 6 months. I was here at school away, and she just didn't let me know. Because she wanted to protect me. They only gave her 6 months to live, and so she knew how much it was gonna affect me. And so when she told me the news, she was right. Like, I started to struggle big time. Like, I started having sleep problems. Like, my health started to just really dwindle. My weight started to fluctuate like crazy. Like, weight up, weight down, weight up, weight down, and just all the financial challenges that came with the cancer. Like, it just, my hair started falling out. Started getting chronic heart pain. Like, it was tough. Like, she's going through chemo, and man, it was really hard stuff. So it made like me still like pursuing my goals with health and fitness and sports and wanting to be the best athlete that I can. And I'll talk a little bit more like why I want to be the best athlete that I can. But I learned something from my mom that completely changed everything. I saw this woman wake up, pray, read the scriptures, and she started going on these walks. My sister, when my mom got sick, my sister just was all hands in. My sister Barbara, she's the best, I'm telling you. She would coach my mom, pray with my mom. She inspired my mom to go on these walks to kind of maintain her strength between the bouts of chemo. And my mom started, she just went with like, what, if you know anybody has anybody in your family ever gone through cancer? Or do you know
Yes.
any level? Yeah, dude, it's a brutal process. Like, you know. There's days like she couldn't even walk. That's how tough this stuff really is. But she started light pole to light pole, and light pole to light pole. So all right, light pole mailbox, light pole block, and she'd go all right, quarter mile, half a mile, 2 miles, 3 miles. She went on like a 7-8 mile walk while in the middle of chemo. So while going through something so hard, facing the literally the worst challenge she's ever faced in her life, she still continued to exercise faith. She still seeked inspiration. She still exercised. She still really strived like to reach her goals. And that completely changed my mentality about it. And it was a test of faith. Like, for me, like, my prayers changed. Like, I didn't just pray for her to be healed, but I prayed for her to be healed and for understanding and for the faith that she had, the courage that she had to be able to continue exercise. So I was like, all right. You know, my mom was 63 when she passed away, or when she started battling with the cancer. So I was like, all right, bare minimum, I'm going to just do 63 push-ups a day. That's where I started. Like, you guys, my friends, like, I was really struggling, but I just started with that. All right, I'm going to do 63 push-ups a day, or 63, go shoot hoops, so just shoot 63 jump shots, or 63 squats, whatever I could do, calf raises, whatever. But the bare minimum, I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to stick with this. I'm going to keep going with the goals. Like, one of my goals was to dunk a basketball. And on my mission, I got pretty close. I could dunk like a mini ball or a tennis ball pretty well. And then go from 345 to dunk it, like grabbing rim, like, it was nuts. Contrast. Nuts. Yeah. But I stuck with it. And while my mom fought the cancer, she just inspired me to keep trying and keep trying and keep trying. And my friend threw me up a lob one night when we were playing church basketball, and I put it down, and I was in tears. I called my mom. I was like, Mom, I did it. Mom, we did it. Like, we actually got it. Like, this is nuts. And just to know that I made her proud, man, that changes everything. And so when it comes for me, like, young athletes listening to this, like, whatever the challenge is, just know that you have the opportunity to make you proud. You have the opportunity to make your family proud. You have the opportunity to make your coaches proud, people around you proud. Like, there's nothing more rewarding.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. You know, that story reminds me a little bit of a psychology lab I'm in, and my mentor, Dr. Janae Nelson, and she gave a presentation about the neuroscience of doing hard things. You know, and one of the things she said that stuck out from the neuroscience was that it doesn't work to do hard things if all you're trying to do is wait for the end. You know, like, we always are like, okay, when school's done, you know, when my mission's done, when, you know, XYZ is done, then I'll be good. And so you work hard for that. But, like, that's actually not a positive thing, right? In sports, in life. And it sounds like from your experience, you've experienced the opposite, where it's like, okay, you kind of, I don't know the word is, I guess, sanctified the process. You were focused on during the challenges doing the tasks, like you said, your mom walking from lamppost to lamppost, right? It wasn't when I'm done, then everything's okay. It was, I'm going to make this moment worth it, essentially. And then paradoxically, that actually helps the end product anyway. There's so much more we could talk about. This podcast could probably be like another hour long, but for the sake of time, if you had to break down one or two messages for the listeners, what would it be?
Yeah, first thing is, if your family is going through something really tough, because while you're pursuing your athletic goals, and goals is going to be the second thing, I'll talk about goals in a second, but while you're pursuing your athletic goals, while you're pursuing your professional athletic development, whatever it may be, your family is still going to face challenges. No matter where you are on the ship, you're going to face a lot of tailwinds, headwinds, post-winds, whatever. I guess I can explain the analogy in a better way. When you're on an airplane, plane's going down, you never hear a flight attendant say, okay, put your friend's mask on, and then once they're good, put yours on. Don't do that. No, they'd get fired. They get fired. They say, put your mask on and then help others that are struggling to put theirs on. And that is such a divine principle, because when you do struggle, when your family's members struggle off the court or off the field, if you don't think that it's going to affect you on the field, it will. But one thing that can help is putting your mask on. Continue to try to I know it's hard, but continue to try to do the things that you have to do to take care of yourself.
Having that like self-compassion,
yes.
Recognizing your inherent self-worth.
Like give yourself some grace. Be kinder to yourself. Like, man, it's tough. Like it really is tough. But if you can put your mask on, if you can try to eat better, if you can try to sleep better, if you can try to exercise, if you can try to really do things to keep your mind in a good space, you'll have a greater capacity to support your loved ones, and your impact on the field and on the court will be better. And I'm not saying like you're gonna go out like when you found somebody struggling, you're gonna go out and be Kobe Bryant or Peyton Manning or anything. Mm-hmm. But when you have your mask on, you'll have a greater capacity to serve others and serve your teammates on the field or the court. The second thing, goal setting. There was a Harvard study, this is years ago, this is probably 35, 40 years ago, where they were looking at students and we're looking like, how did they set goals? What did they do? Mm-hmm. And there was only 3% of them that set goals and wrote them down. And they followed those Harvard students, and 20 years later, the 3% that set goals were worth more financially than the 97% combined. And so for me, like, that inspired me. Like, okay, like, I want to do this. I know I've been wanting to do this. I want to, like, overcome this weight. I want to dunk a basketball. Like, I want to do whatever. But once you write it down, it's like a magnet. Mm-hmm. Once you write it down, you just start wanting, like, your brain just starts, like, your heart just starts rolling. Like, all right, like, what do I, you start scheming, like, shoot, maybe I can do this.
You kind of start to naturally plan.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And that's when you use all your resources. Don't better way to say it, like, use all of your resources. Like, when I wrote down my goals, I was like, okay, I'm looking at research papers, I'm reading books, I'm reading inspirational books, like See You at the Top by Zig Ziglar, or Maximum Fat Loss by Ted Broer. Like, I was reading everything that I could, listening to everything that I could, seeking advice from healthy people, and doctors and everything, and combining it with my faith and infusing that into my goal. Mm-hmm. And that's when the miracle happened. That's when the faith-inspired transformation really, really happened. And so get after it. If you have something that you want to do, go. Mm-hmm. If you have something that you want to accomplish, go. Write it down, have faith, pray, and then just go.
Yeah, I really like that, especially that last kind of sentence you said, where you could have all the knowledge in the world, but that knowledge turns to power in the action. But what bridges the gap between that knowledge and that action is that the internalization, right? You use the word infusing. You kind of infused that knowledge through your faith, and then that motivation almost shifted from like an extrinsic to intrinsic in nature. I really like that. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I look forward to reading your book when you're done with it.
Oh, thanks so much.
So.